Registrar says political party numbers rising. Another youth dies from police beating injuries. And 50 illegal Vietnamese fishermen appear in court.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening. It is the end of the working week. Thanks for joining us this Friday. The number of registered political parties stands at 37 as of today, with 7 more in the process of registration. Registrar of Political Parties Dr. Alphonse Gelu said this today and projected that this number could increase to 44 before the issue of wreaths. Out of the 37 registered political parties, only 19 of them have members in Parliament.
The Registry of Political Parties today conducted a one-day forum for political party executives with members in Parliament. In a news conference after the forum, Registrar Dr. Alphonse Gelu expressed disappointment that only 12 of the 19 registered political parties with members in Parliament turned up to the forum.
I was quite disappointed for those other political parties that did not turn up. As you can see from the list, there are a number of the bigger coalition partners that did not turn up. And for us at the registry, that is one of those things that we've been encouraging all the political parties to do. Not only those parties that have members in Parliament, but those also with no members in Parliament. You cannot organize yourself effectively as a party if you don't have conventions. Because it is in the conventions that major decisions are made for the political party.
The purpose of the forum was to inform the executives of their entitlements, especially general secretaries.
There are a number of general secretaries of political parties that are very, very hardworking. They've done really well for their respective political parties. It is only those general secretaries, those presidents, and those treasurers that have not complied with many of the things that we wanted them to do. And those are the ones that we are trying to target. And because of that, it also brings us to this question of us having a proper mechanism in place that would really justify the payments that we are making to these individuals. Okay? Because after all, these are public funds.
On the increasing number of political parties, Dr. Gelu said that with the revised organic law still in Parliament, there is no deadline to stop the registration of political parties as elections draw near.
So, like I said, there's nothing that we can do. It's their right under the Constitution. But we have to really manage this in the future. We can't allow people to continue to do this. So that's the reason why the number has gone up to 37. And there are still 7 in the pipeline for registration. And like I said, hopefully maybe before or just before the issue of wreaths, we might end up with about 44, 45 political parties that will contest the 2017 national elections.
Dr. Gelu said it's the registry's vision to have strong political parties in PNG, which are well-structured organizations with monitoring and reporting systems that can come out and address major national issues. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
A new judge has been appointed to the National and Supreme Courts, which brings the total number of judges in PNG to 39. This is from Chief Justice Sir Salamo India upon the swearing-in of Justice Jeffrey Leonard Shepherd as a National and Supreme Court judge. Sir Salamo said 1 more appointment will be coming up soon that will take the number to 40. This follows positions in the judiciary services that has been left vacant by 3 former judges.
Shepherd, do promise and declare that I will well and truly serve the independent state of Papua New Guinea and its people in the office as a judge of the Supreme Court and National Court of Justice, that I will in all things uphold
Justice Jeffrey Shepherd is from Warkwet, New Zealand, and is not new to the justice system in Papua New Guinea. He was admitted to practice law in PNG in 1983. He has appeared counsel in many civil and commercial cases in PNG's high courts. His principal responsibility will be court annex mediation, and he will be based at Waigani National and Supreme Courts. He will also help out in other civil matters. He will be partnered with Justice Ambenkanda Kasi to run the full mediation program for the Waigani National Court.
Intensely involved with the drafting of the alternate dispute resolution rules, which have been adopted as part of the National Court rules. Through my work on the ADR committee. So what I hope to, or what I intend to bring to the National Court is my practical experience as a mediator, and my career experience spanning more than 30 years in Papua New Guinea as a litigation lawyer.
Justice Jeffrey Shepherd's appointment is a term of 3 years. Prior to his appointment, he was a PNG-accredited mediator and principal of Shepherd's Mediations, providing court-annexed mediation and arbitration services in PNG. Sir Salomo confirmed that the Judicial Service now has 39 judges, 4 of whom are on acting appointments and 35 are full-time. He said there is still a vacancy for 5 more judges. The statutory ceiling is 40 permanent judges.
Due to retirement on medical grounds, 1 retired early this year, having reached the mandatory retiring age of 75, and 1 lost through death. So the judiciary has been trying to replace the 3. We made 1 appointment last year, Justice Terry Foles from Australia. Now it's Justice Shepherd from New Zealand. And we have 1 more appointment coming to be sworn in soon. That'll replace the 3, and that takes the number to 40 by this month or early next month.
Merlin Diakotam, National EMTV News.
Leader of the People's Progress Party, Ben Micah, announced yesterday that 2 MPs have left the party. They are Titus Philemon, Governor for Milne Bay, and Timothy Masiu, member for South Bougainville. Mr. Micah also announced the appointment of Ken Fairweather, member for Sumka, as the deputy leader of PPP.
People's Progress Party leader Ben Micah said that the 2 members had given a formal letter announcing their exit from the party.
To the government, Mr. Philemon has joined up with the United Resources Party, and Mr. Masiu has joined the National Alliance Party.
Micah said that PPP will be going into elections with 5 members.
We've accepted the resignation of the 2 former members of the party, and we are determined to go to the election with a small army of 5 members.
In the meantime, commenting on his appointment as deputy leader of PPP, Sumkar MP Ken Fairweather said he was happy to take up the role.
So I'm happy to be deputy leader. You know, it's an honour as much as anything else.
Founder of PPP, Sir Julius Chan, said he was saddened by the departure, but that the party was no stranger to these situations.
That I have helped for a very long time and considered them to be just like my brother, deserting the party. It's not normal for People's Progress Party, but of course I respect their right to do so.
The remaining 5 members of PPP are Ben Micah, Ken Fairweather, Sir Julius Chan, Governor for New Ireland, Byron Chen, member for Namatanai Open, and Johnson Tuke, member for Kainantu. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
The Pori community in Irma and 9 Mile are mourning the death of a youth who was allegedly beaten by police yesterday. Eyewitnesses say the youth was brutally beaten, leaving bruises all over his body. Community leaders want the police hierarchy to respond swiftly on this matter.
Relatives of the deceased flooded the gates of the Port Moresby General Hospital morgue this morning to mourn the death of late Lincoln Arapa. Relatives say late Lincoln was picked up with 2 other suspects at Gordon's Market by a police unit. He was then beaten before he was taken to the Saraga police station and forced to leave.
Oli trauma mem come outside lo nisla nibla freeway and I'll force him to run. Na time oli force him to run, him no nablo run because oli bara mem go through. Na time him like strong him lo run, him put down. Na ol mangi lo community all go na kisim him, ikam put him lo side, kapsait him wara. By the time him big blood him lose him penis.
Pastor Andrew and others rushed the victim to the Port Moresby General Hospital for treatment after he had lost his consciousness.
Me rush him to hospital, emergency ward straight. Or doctor diagnose him, not find him out, or I'm losing lifelong. Internal bleeding na brain damage. So that's why I'm lifeline the end long, night 11 o'clock.
MTV News could not get comments from police at Saraga Station as the station was closed with no police officers present. A community leaders say reports will be compiled and presented to Police Commissioner Gary Baki, the Police Minister Robert Atiyafa and the government.
We are going to take the government to court but first thing we are going to take a look at who is at fault. Which department is looking after that Saraga 6-mile unit?
The Police Internal Affairs Unit is aware of the incident with the NCD Command yet to make an official statement. The deceased is 30 years old and is from Pori district in the Hela province.
I appeal to the Police Commissioner to look at it. I appeal to the Police Department and the Commissioner himself to do a submission to the NEC to take it to Parliament for this type of rotten policemen to be eradicated from the department, from the force.
Jack Lapave Jr., National MTV News.
The 50 Vietnamese men who were apprehended in December 2016 for illegal fishing appeared before the Waigani District Court this morning. The 50 were transported to the court premises from downtown Port Moresby for their first mention.
It was a special case and was prosecuted by officers from the National Fisheries Authority. All 50 appeared before District Court Magistrate John Calmy for the same charge of illegal fishing under the National Fisheries Act. The 50 were apprehended by PNG Defence Force naval officers in December 2016 in the Milne Bay waters. They were taken to Alatau and later escorted to Port Moresby, where they are currently undergoing their court processes. This is by far one of the largest illegal fishing matter the NFA will be prosecuting. Thekla Gunga, National MTV News.
You're watching National MTV News. 242 new police recruits graduate. Men's involvement in gender-based violence the focus in Mount Hagen, and National Academic University staff want promised increments before resuming duties. Those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. Southern Highlands Provincial Government has passed its 2017 budget of $290 million. Governor William Powie says the budget begins the start of a 5-year multi-budget focusing to implement its strategic plan. Governor Powie said previous budgets laid the foundation in fixing deteriorating services, and 2017 forward is for building of new infrastructure.
Passing the Southern Highlands budget recently in Mendi, Southern Highlands Governor William Powie says the 2017 budget aims to build new infrastructure for a new phase of development.
I think this is very important thinking block. Southern Highlands Provincial Government, I am leaving you with the roadmap so you can go learn from one of you like go learn. This is the priority. If you come up with some other priority, be sure that you can revisit this province or you can go bump the one.
Governor Powie said that the $290 million will see a spread of funding over a period of 5 years. Generally, the Southern Highlands Assembly hopes to build and support existing services of roads, different levels of schools, health centers, and human resource. Despite being an oil and gas-driven province, the Southern Highlands government is putting a significant funding to the agriculture sector.
Close to 300 to 400 open missions. By you distributing more office materials.
In his budget speech, Governor Powie says law and order is also another sector the provincial government aims to support.
CIS NIPA 2 million, CIS Pangia 2 million, CIS Mendi 2 million. CIS Kagua 2 million, CIS Yelibu 2 million. This will spread over time. As and when money becomes available, 500, 1 million at a time, but for planning purposes, budgeting for five-year planning, and we put in this way.
Governor Pobi is yet to present the 2017 Southern Highlands provincial budget to the Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt. Jacob Harvey Jr. National EMTV News.
A new journey has begun for over 240 police recruits today. A journey described by Police Commissioner Gary Baki as a life of service to Papua New Guineans. These 242 recruits passed out of the Bamana Police Training College as probationary constables. They will be posted to selected parts of the country to begin police duties in the coming weeks.
Over 32 women were amongst the 242 police recruits who passed out from Bomana this morning. These recruits are the second batch of the 2016 intake, which consisted of 10 squads.
Life in the police force is going to be different, tough and challenging for you all. I must encourage every one of you to be strong, forego all bad habits, and embrace the positive changes in your life so that you will fulfill the fundamental objective of being a law enforcement officer.
They began training in July 2016 and have covered a range of courses from the application of PNG law, basic investigation and court processes, to weapon handling and ceremonial drills. Self-discipline and commitment to police duties were two principles Commissioner Baki emphasized when addressing the recruits.
As members of the constabulary, I encourage you to uphold the values, discipline and ethics of the constabulary at all times. When you do, the people will have faith and trust in you as policemen and women.
Baki said, though having a career in the police force may be challenging, the recruits have sworn to protect the community they police and must maintain discipline in both their professional and personal lives. These police officers will be completing 18 months of probation before they will be confirmed police officers. Meanwhile, the 2017 recruitment is expected to start in June. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Police reports show that 5 cases of gender-based violence are reported every day at Mount Hagen Police Station. The main causes are alcohol, drugs, polygamy and gambling. Family Health International 360, a non-governmental organization, has intervened to educate men in Western Highlands Province to take the lead to reduce the escalating violence.
FHI 360 hosted a forum yesterday in Mount Hagen to get men involved in the fight to reduce gender-based violence and know its causes and effects. The turnout was good, with men hearing case studies of GBV and discussing recommendations needed for the province. A senior sergeant at Mount Hagen Police Station, Susan Mondia, told her story about gender-based violence. Being in disciplinary force and marrying a man who is also a policeman was difficult for her.
Family Mibla like hiding map was a money blow me play it now. Mibla put him side number so didn't cry come inside no MSM. Planet time me looking this law heavy come blow all family blow police too where this like money side come a big place.
Reports from police and hospitals in Western Highlands Province show that violence rates of GBV remains high in Western Highlands. Reports from Mount Hagen District and National Court also show that in 2015, 32 women sought help from the courts to get interim protection orders. Last year, 29 cases of violence at home were registered and they sought the courts to get interim protection order. One of the main causes of GBV is culture and bigmanship.
Anything crossing men, fighting men, shooting mouse, washable clothes, and you grow up on them now.
4 main types of GBV are rape, sexual assault, physical assault, and forced marriage. From the case presentations yesterday, forced marriage is leading in Western Highlands, followed by the others. The attendees recommended for all, including the local members of parliament, to work together to reduce gender-based violence in Western Highlands province. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
University of Papua New Guinea National Academic Staff Association today announced that on Monday, university lecturers and staff will stop work in protest of the 7.5 pay increments owed to them since 2015. NASA President Emmanuel Gorias said that they had negotiated back and forth with the university management and the state since 2015, but the increments have not been paid.
University lecturers and staff have been asking for their 7.5% pay increment. NASA President Emmanuel Gorea said the response from the university management and the state was that there was no money.
Day one, we refuse to be militant and overtly confrontational. We deliberately pursue a strategy of dialogue and negotiation with all parties to get the matter resolved while we suffered silently. We have had continuous meetings with the UPNG management on this, and we have had dialogue with Industrial Registrar and the Department of Higher Education and the Minister himself. From all sides, we are told simply no money.
He said NASA has considered 3 options in airing out their grievance. One was to go to court. Secondly was a full industrial strike, and thirdly, voluntary withdrawal of teaching and assessment component of work. NASA will be taking option 3 because it was student-friendly.
NASA is pursuing this matter, is looking at it in broad perspective. We're looking at the students' perspective, we look at the country's perspective, we're looking at the overall view, so that when we make a decision whether to go on strike, not to go strike, or what strategy that we are following, we are very much doing it in line with those thinking, putting everybody together. So our students are very much at the heart of this consideration also. Though we may not be teaching next week, but part of our strategy is how do we strategize in order to make sure that we cover up for the period next week. But it is incumbent on the government to respond and the management to respond.
Gorea believes the government has enough to settle their increments.
We have a broken semester last year. We are more or less continuing with the same semester. So we don't want to see that semester is not completed. And government should think seriously about this. We are now very serious of even making it further because the government has promised the university that they will give the 12 million. Since that promise last year, until now, the government has not delivered. And as president of NASA, I'm very disappointed with that. A government is a government. You have to be honest with your people.
The 7.5% increments total up to 5 to 6 million kina. The voluntary stop work will last 5 days, and if the government and university management does not respond, NASA says it will play its next move. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
The public servants serving in Morbe dedicated themselves today at the St. Paul's Church in Ley to serve the people of Morbe Province. Acting Provincial Administrator Sheila Haro called on all Morbe public servants to maintain order and discipline and to restore public confidence. Morbe Provincial Government Administration has nearly 7,000 public servants, including teachers and excluding national agencies and public tertiary institutions. Lay Senior Judge Justice Don Sawong said a public servant is employed by the state with the objective to provide service to everyone in PNG.
You are employed in the public service. You are engaged in a mission to improve the lives of everyone in this province and in Papua New Guinea. But in this instance, we all know you are here and you will go out to live and work amongst our people in the villages, in the towns, in the districts, and in the South District centers in the entire Morbe province.
Prisoners at Lays Buimo Jail says issues of family violence and abuse occur because men do not understand women and issues concerning them. 22 inmates made this remark during their graduating ceremony today after completing 2 weeks of training on male advocacy. The training was made possible through the Australian government in partnership with the Marlborough Provincial Government.
The 22 low to medium risk male prisoners and a number of CS officers graduated today after completing the male advocacy course. The training is a form of rehabilitation. It is meant to inform them on gender and other health issues affecting families and communities. This training was aimed to prepare the inmates to be male champions and advocates when they return to their communities. Apollo Kesu, who is serving a 16-year sentence, hopes to share as well as living by example from this vital information he had acquired.
The training a more positive approach long addressing this issue long family sexual violence.
Another inmate, John Goy, says youths are the main cause of the problems in the community, and the training will help him to go back to the community to educate his peers.
Helping mindset
Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075 $0.4054 Australian dollars, $0.2855 euro, and 34.95 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day lower. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 32 points higher, the ASX is trading at 38 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 35 points higher. You're with Friday's news. Daytech opens in Kokopo and stories making headlines overseas. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The Five Mamas campaign was officially launched yesterday by the PNG Parliamentary Group on Population and Sustainable Development. Chair of the PNG PGPSD and member for Sumka, Ken Fairweather, asked members of parliament who attended to make sure maternal health was in place in their districts.
The Five Mama campaign is set to bring awareness on family planning and understanding when a pregnant mother is facing complications.
Support those 5 women, the 5 girls that you have said, these women are important to me. I want these women to survive pregnancy, survive childbirth. So I'm going to know what these symptoms are. I'm going to suggest you need to go to health clinic and be checked. If each person was to have 5 women or girls that they committed to and to look after, then I think that we would start to see more improvements in maternal health.
Dame Carol Kiddu, who was present at the launch, asked members of parliament to also include maternal health in their campaign speeches when it came to elections. Kiddu stressed that a mother's death in a family caused by childbirth is a big loss. Member for Sumkar and the chair of the PNG PGPSD said that 4% of the district's funds can go a long way to ensuring that their district has proper maternal health clinics.
It only costs you about 400,000 kina a year to do a really good family planning awareness and implement it every year out of your DSIP. Now that's 4% or something. So really, if everyone in the country put some funds aside and took the matter seriously, we could have an impact. But there's not much good 1 or 2 having an impact and the rest don't.
National Planning Minister Charles Abel said that air medevac was also important when it came to saving a mother facing childbirth complications. He said that 99% of the time in Alatau, the district's medevac is used for childbirth complication cases.
In Milne Bay is the helicopter medevac service. Just to jump quickly to some proposed solutions that can help. And the majority of the cases that the medevac which is the Manalos helicopter service, the majority of the cases are women in childbirth difficulties. And we have that partnership there with that service, and all of us in the district contribute something to keep it there.
Melissa Gufiro, National EMTV News.
The We Create National Entrepreneurship Extreme Builder Business Workshop began today at the Laguna Hotel with more than 100 women participants. The We Create Challenge is supported in PNG by the Australian and United States governments and is aligned with the PNG government's policy priority to establish 250,000 new small and medium enterprises.
The We Create Extreme Build a Business workshop started today at the Laguna Hotel with 111 participants.
Persistence and endurance ultimately are the differentiator. I've seen way too many entrepreneurs last year, over 19,000 businesses last year, part of our network. Over and over and over again, I see businesses going.
The We Create Challenge helps women gain the skills they need to bring their business ideas to fulfillment. This is done by helping them to test their business assumptions, refine their ideas, and plan for business growth. The Australian Deputy High Commissioner, Bronte Mools, speaking at the opening of the workshop, said that her government was committed to working in partnership with the PNG government to help it grow its economy and create opportunities for women.
Women who have small to medium businesses who are starting up, or some have been established for a little while, but who want to improve, want to learn and expand their businesses, want to find out how to make them really successful.
One of the We Create Challenge mentors, Rita Kare, started her business, the Goroka Steakhouse, by selling scones on the street. She now has a 200-seat restaurant, a conference center, and a hotel.
I'm good through because people need men. Kind program also all work mentoring, all work training, all making also all work support in plan di Papua New Guinea merilo, strong imolo. When them something all work him all dreaman, work him stop, all can also grow. You know, work him tason na stop all same tason. Oh, you got dreaman who come business. Someone has to push you, and these things push you to really get your dreams into reality. Come up through plan.
The challenge generated significant interest in its first round due to a successful Facebook campaign and the support of the Women's Business Resource Center in Hohola in the nation's capital.
Great Challenge is training and acceleration program for women entrepreneurs, women who have business ideas or who have been in business for 3 to less than 5 years and are struggling to, for their businesses to take off. So this We Create business model competition is about training them, equipping them with the right mindset, with the right ways of doing business, on how to get, generate their revenues, and also as well as how to talk to their customers, how to market their products. So.
Geraldine Calabai, National EMTV News.
Datek PNG has opened its new sales office in Kokopo, East New Britain Province. The internet service provider and tech retailer business says it wants to tap into the ever-increasing ICT demands in the country by providing alternative ICT solutions to PNG customers. Yesterday, during the soft launch of the Datek office, acting CEO Gokul Naidu said the business is looking at making its presence felt in a big way in the coming weeks, particularly in the NGI region. The nationally owned company was acquired by Telecom PNG last year. Datek is expected to be an integral part of Telecom PNG's plans to expand its voice, data and wireless networks using its converged ICT services to Papua New Guineans. Turning overseas to Italy, rescuers have pulled the last 2 dead bodies from the wreckage of a hotel in central Italy that was razed by an avalanche last week, raising the final death toll to 29. With the discovery on Wednesday night of the bodies of 1 man and 1 woman, everyone known to have been at the Hotel Rigopiano when it was buried has now been found. 11 people survived the disaster, which struck following heavy snowstorms and several powerful earthquakes on January 18th. Prosecutors have opened a probe into the tragedy. Chukai Sports is up next. We have pro boxing making a comeback and Team Hagen needs funding for PNG Games. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. New Guinea professional boxing is set to showcase 12 professional fighters facing off in 6 bouts this Sunday at the Sports Inn Club in Port Moresby. An 11th hour sponsorship package from sports and awards dealer Trophy House was just in time for the opening round of the 2017 Pro Boxing Fighting Championship.
New Guinea Professional Boxing Association today received timely support from sports and awards specialist company Trophy House. Trophies, boxing gloves and other boxing necessities were handed over to the association to complement the 2017 pro boxing season. Trophy House Operations Manager Paul Pacific says the company is delighted to sponsor New Guinea professional boxing, adding that the code has been dormant in the country for a while and it's about time boxing gets back into the limelight.
First of all, we are very pleased to sponsor the New Guinea Professional Boxing. I believe that it's about time that PNG starts to pay more attention to individual sports like boxing. And it's been a long time since there's been a professional boxing match here in PNG.
New Guinea Pro Boxing is reviving the code by staging fights to bring together amateur and pro boxers to get the exposure and experience in the sport.
Professional boxing is a business in PNG, so our leaders have to focus to promote pro boxing in PNG. It's been dormant a long time, so I want pro boxing to be activated in the country, so we revive pro boxing in PNG. So I'm pleased to say thank you for Trophy House as our major sponsor. We haven't had sponsors like that, but we have the first sponsors coming like our platinum sponsor. So thank you for Trophy House. Thank you very much.
Martin Benny, a former professional boxer and legend in the sport in the early 70s, is now working with New Guinea Professional Boxing to restore pride in the code and bring it back to its glory days.
Well, in professional boxing, hardly no one there to take up the what's name boxing. With this New Guinea boxing promotion has come up with a thing, and we're trying to build it up, to the stage where I was before, when I became an Australian champion, #1 in the Commonwealth. Those are the ideas that we're trying to build up in Papua New Guinea, so that some of our boys become very high-ranked people in the Commonwealth.
The one-day event will be held at the Sports Inn Club in Port Moresby this Sunday, starting off with 6 amateur bouts, then followed by professional bouts starting at 1 p.m. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
The 2017 PNG Games is weeks away and Team Western Highlands have no funding to attend it. Former Vice President of Taekwondo PNG, who is also the Western Highlands Taekwondo instructor Simon Kama, is urging the Western Highlands Sports Council to come clear on preparations. Kama says his 16-member squad is ready to take on the Games if funding is available.
The Team Western Highlands Taekwondo has been preparing for the PNG Games for almost a year. However, instructor Kama, who is a black belt, says this year's game will be different if the team won't make it. Kama said the Western Highlands Sports Council is not talking or holding meetings for all the codes in preparation for the 2017 PNG Games.
As we all know, that the PNG Games is for all the grassroots in the province, and every province is taking part. So we as the third city, we are thinking of bringing a big contingent, but at the moment we are not sure whether we will be traveling or not because there is no meeting being held by the Western Highlands Provincial Sports Council.
Team Western Highlands Taekwondo have some strong and experienced fighters who took part in previous PNG Games and the last Pacific Games in Port Moresby. The instructor himself started his Taekwondo career at age 12 and have been instructing for over 30 years. Kama says the Taekwondo sport in PNG lacks progressing because executives in Port Moresby do not look for good fighters outside of POM.
Taekwondo should have progressed if the executives have been moving around the country to help. But everything was based in Moresby. We have very good fighters in Buka, we have very good fighters in Rabaul, we have very good fighters in Kimbe, Lei, Goroka. Okay, we have it in Central NCD and Kevieng, but we don't get the backing from the Taekwondo PNG executives.
Team Western Highlands have yet to receive funding to make traveling arrangements and buy new uniforms. Kama says the team is still confused whether to take the risk traveling by road and sea to West New Britain province or by air. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV Sports, Mount Hagen.
The Pacific's top female sprinter Toya Whistle started her 2017 season 4 months earlier in Gold Coast, Australia, and is on a quest to reach new heights this year. She started her season off with a very good 11.49 seconds timing for the 100-meter event in Brisbane. Some of her upcoming championships this year include QA Shield Meet in Brisbane, ACT and Queensland Championships, the ACT Grand Prix in March, the Australia Championships and Oceania Championships in Fiji in July. You're watching Trukai Sports. James Seguiaro in court of league commitments and a look at the NRL preseason. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. James Seguiaro is facing a court battle with former rugby league club Leeds Rhinos over claims he walked out of his contract. The former Panthers hooker was a free agent after signing a 2.5-year deal when he joined the club last June.
Seguiaro is thought to have undergone a change of heart after his return to Sydney, consequently failing to report for pre-season training earlier this month. The player's manager, Sam Ayob, informed Australian media that the contract was not valid among further rumours that Seguiaro is in talks about a move to NRL champions Cronulla for 2017. The Rhinos chief, Gary Hetherington, said his contract is currently lodged with the RFL. Hetherington said the deal had a get-out clause to opt out on before September 30th, but the deadline passed with the former Panther player happy to stay. Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
Though the NRL 2017 season is more than a month away, the player market has seen a lot of activity as clubs make their moves on player recruitment. Unfortunately, injuries also seem to be at an all-time high, with the likes of newly recruited Newcastle Knights Rory Costerson already injured in a training session. And even recovering Storm's fullback Billy Slater is looking at a wobbly start for this season.
Despite the injuries and players moving, there are only two agendas gaining prominence for this pre-season: the Downer NRL Auckland Nines and the pre-season trial games. Though there are some teams that are not so sure of the season opener now that they are already losing players in just the pre-season. 2016 Premiers Cronulla Sharks will not have Michael Innes on their side, as well as Ben Barber for the pre-season and the first half of this season. After ending 49 years of premiership drought, the defending champions cannot afford any more losses to the team lineup. On the other hand, minor premiers Melbourne Storms are good to go for this year, with the team still intact, and the possible return of Billy Slater would only be a plus for them. In the meantime, the Raiders, Cowboys and Broncos will gear up to battle for restoration to former glory, as all three fell short of a finals placement last season. While Bulldogs and Roosters will see a lot of new faces in the lineup, the Eels will be giving the best shot this season as well and trying as much as possible to stay away from unwanted headlines. And for the rest of the teams lurking in the bottom ranks, this season will be all about climbing the ranks for them, and the Auckland Nines is one tournament they will take on wholeheartedly in preparation. Dinirose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
And that's a wrap on Trukai Sports. Up next, the weather details. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: mostly fine in Port Moresby and Kerema, afternoon showers in Daru, cloudy with showers in Alotau and showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. In the Momase region, cloudy with showers in Lae and cloudy with showers in Medang, Wewak and Banimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with showers in all centres. And in the Highlands region, showers then expected, morning fog in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Before we go, recapping our top stories again. Political parties registrar says political party numbers will grow. Another youth dies from injuries sustained in an alleged police beating, and 50 illegal Vietnamese fishermen appear in court. And that's the news, sports and weather for this Friday, the 27th of 2017. On behalf of the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.